Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a piece of home audio that's honestly a bit confusing, the JBL Bar 500.
Yeah, this one's generated a lot of buzz. You see it everywhere, the $600 soundbar, thousands of five-star reviews, people talking about theater-quality Dolby Atmos, calling it the best value.
But when you dig a bit deeper, this core conflict starts to show up pretty clearly.
It really does. It's almost a perfect example of, like, talent versus temperament in tech right now. Great potential performance,
Right.
but maybe not the most reliable character. And JBL put it smack in the middle of their 2023 range, didn't they? Not the entry bar 300, not the top-end 800.
Exactly. It's meant to be that sweet spot. Premium, but not, breaking the bank. But there's this catch, a potentially big one.
So our mission today is to figure out what you actually get. Is the performance worth the potential headache?
Okay, let's start with the good stuff, the talent. Because on paper, this thing looks pretty serious.
Oh yeah, specs are solid. 590 watts total system power. It's got 4 racetrack drivers, 3 tweeters.
And that subwoofer, it's a 10-inch wireless unit. Sources are saying it genuinely hits low, like down to 23 hertz. That's pretty deep.
It is. And the setup seems genuinely easy, too, which isn't always the case. Plug it in, connect via ARC, and bam, the sub just pairs. No messing around.
Plus, they finally have decent software, right? The JBL One app. I heard it actually lets you tweak this.
It does. Proper EQ adjustments and, crucially, room calibration. You know how often that's just marketing fluff on soundbar?
Oh yeah, totally useless usually. Hit a button, nothing changes.
Well, here, apparently it works. It blasts these really bizarre test tones. Someone described them as orca-like sounds.
Orca sounds. Seriously.
But it uses them to map the room, analyze reflections, adjust how the sound beams out, and multiple people confirm you can actually hear a difference afterwards. It dials things in.
Huh. Okay, that is surprising.
Yeah.
And the actual sound performance.
Pretty impressive by most accounts. Strong center channel, they call it pure voice tech. Basically means dialogue stays clear even when things are exploding around it.
That's key. Yeah. So many systems bury the dialogue.
Exactly. And that big sub, reports say it properly shakes living rooms. Plus, the multi-beam tech, using those side-firing tweeters, creates a genuinely wide sort of virtual surround sound stage.
Okay, sounds good. But the Dolby Atmos badge, let's talk about that because that implies height, right? Sound from above.
Ah, yes. The crucial caveat, it is Dolby Atmos compatible. It can process the signal, but there are 0 upward firing drivers on the bar itself.
So no actual height effects, no helicopters flying overhead, no rain sounds coming from the ceiling.
None. You get impressive width, maybe a bit of depth, but absolutely no verticality. Something to keep in mind if that's specifically what you're buying Atmos for.
Right, okay, so impressive soundstage, good clarity, powerful bass, but limited Atmos. Now let's switch gears. The temperament issue, the big flaw.
Yeah, this is where it gets frustrating. There seems to be a fundamental reliability problem here that honestly feels kind of inexcusable at this price point.
What is it exactly? Because the descriptions sound almost too simple to be real.
It's maddeningly simple. The soundbar just randomly decides to go into standby mode. Every 2 or 3 days, apparently. Result: no sound. Nothing.
And the fix?
The only reliable fix reported over and over again is you have to physically unplug the soundbar from the wall, wait a bit, and plug it back in. A full power cycle.
Wait, hang on. For a $600 modern sound system,
Yeah.
the official solution is turn it off on and on again, like physically unplugging it.
That's pretty much it. This isn't some cheap smart plug acting up. It's the core of your home theater audio.
So what's causing it? Any ideas?
It seems to boil down to either problems with the HDMI eARC handshake, how the bar communicates with the TV, or the Wi-Fi connection constantly dropping. It points to a design issue, not just user error.
And the workaround people use? Switching cables.
Yeah, some give up and use an optical cable instead, but that totally defeats the purpose. Optical can't carry the high bandwidth audio like Dolby True HD or the full Atmos signal that eARC handles. You bought an Atmos bar and now you can't even use Atmos properly.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, the listener, what's the bottom line here?
It's a gamble, a real high-stakes one. When this JBL Bar 500 is working, the sound quality is apparently fantastic. Genuinely rivals systems costing way more. If you find it on sale for, say, $400, the performance for the price is borderline absurd. But you have to factor in what we're calling the reliability tax. You might spend months dealing with random audio dropouts, having to crawl behind your TV to unplug the thing.
So if you need tech that just works every single time, reliably, This probably isn't it. Look elsewhere.
Exactly. But if you value that premium audio, you're on a tighter budget, and you have the patience, maybe some technical know-how to troubleshoot, then maybe, just maybe, this could work for you. The talent is definitely there.
But that temperament, it's a big question mark.
It really is.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on. In today's home tech world, how much is stellar performance worth if it comes tied to basic instability? Is that incredible sound enough to make you forgive needing to power cycle your soundbar constantly? Where's your personal tolerance level for troubleshooting something that should just connect? Something to think about before you hit buy.